Today's video is sponsored by Factor, a fantastic meal delivery service that's all about providing convenient and nutritious meals right to your doorstep. Factor offers delicious, flavor-packed options on the menu each week to fit a variety of lifestyles, from keto to calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and protein plus. Prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, each Factor meal has all of the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long while meeting your goals. Factor meals are delivered fresh, never frozen, to your door. Just heat, eat, and enjoy a nutritious and satisfying meal in just minutes. As someone with a busy schedule who loves great flavors, Factor is a game-changing solution. Factor cuts down on grocery trips and cooking, so there's more time for me to watch all of my favorite and sinful TV shows. My favorite meals are the shredded chicken taco bowl and the jalapeno beef mac and cheese. Want to budget this month by cutting back on takeout? Get Factor instead. Not only is Factor cheaper than takeout, but meals are ready faster than restaurant delivery. As a special treat for our viewers, we've partnered with Factor to offer an exclusive discount. Use code TVSins50 to get 50% off your first Factor box at factor75.com. So head on over to the link in the description below, explore Factor's menu, and start enjoying delicious chef-crafted meals that will keep you on track with your health goals. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring today's video.
The story's about to take a dark turn.
Did it not already? We watched a boy lose a testicle to a piranha and an eye bulge monster rip a high schooler's torso open. What is that if not dark?
Maybe it was one of your classmates.
Sheriff, I find that question offensive.
This was a speculation, or possibly an assertion, but not a question.
Dead people are notoriously bad at returning calls.
It's 2022 and so are the living. What's your point?
Then I ran into Bianca Barclay and I told her to go for help. Next thing I remember, I was awaking in my dorm.
We saw you in your dorm at the end of the last episode, but the rest of this happened completely off screen. Almost as if police showing up at the scene of Rowan's murder hadn't been written yet.
I've hibernated with grizzlies.
I think these references to ridiculous things that the Addams family have done are meant to impress and shock, but I've seen so much odd shit that none of it is interesting anymore. However, if she'd said that she hibernated on comfortable pillows in the sunshine, that would freak me out at this point.
You have 5 minutes, and everything is off the record.
Saying off the record is more courtesy than law, and Sheriff Galpin is more law than journalist, so this statement was mostly pointless.
Sheriff, what? You're gonna want to see this.
Better come take a look at this cliché. That was a fast reveal. I'm impressed. Still annoyed, but impressed.
I like being an island. Not
naming the episode the Isle of Woe Man. These kids are meticulously painting the boat. I mean, they want it to be smooth and solid. Fine, be hyper-perfectionist. But you do know this boat is being designed to be attacked, right? Maybe paint is not as important to survival as, I don't know, armor?
I've always hated the expression, write what you know. It's a hall pass for the imagination impaired.
Or maybe write what you know means that you should learn about a topic before you decide to write about it. But that might just be me using my imagination. The only reason we're interested in this symbol is that the music is creepy and we've had it thrust in our face. Without that context, this stamp might as well be the remnants of a daisy smashed against a page as a bookmark.
I need to speak with Rowan. I can't find him.
It won't be possible, I'm afraid. He's been expelled.
This sounds like he'd already left school, but then she says,
He'll be on the first train out this afternoon.
And it now sounds like he's been put in solitary confinement. While this is believable at Nevermore, why doesn't she just go with the he has already left school explanation instead of the elaborate train station plan that ultimately causes Wednesday to become more suspicious?
Not until you've picked your extracurricular activity.
Show suddenly remembers it's about a boarding school and has to act like picking a club is as important as all the mystery and murder. I mean, at least she doesn't pick mathletes. It's social suicide.
Skills on 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 skills.
The fish people singing about scales is a bit on the gills. Also, if we wanted to be gleeful, we wouldn't be watching Wednesday.
What was that?
A note only dogs can hear.
And yet, none of the werewolves will react to this.
Hey, you know, girls in glass houses.
To throw bigger stones.
Turning the saying on its head, but not aiming for the ceiling.
At least I'm not an elitist snob.
Says the person snobbily stealing the convenient hay apple and piercing it perfectly in the bull's eye like an elite asshole. This type of train just does not exist in Vermont. A little bit of research suggests this exterior is actually Romania, and no amount of American flags will make me see anything else now. Stupid train. No one sees a liberated hand clickety-clacking through a busy train terminal. No one. No one. Weens leaves this bag unattended and saunters off, not even a little worried about the bomb scare she's probably responsible for. Damn, the talent it must take to be this digitally expressive. Victor Dorobansu sure has his finger on the pulse of this character. And the job he does with his hand is gonna massage a sin removal out of me, isn't it? Setting up this whole shape-shifting trip to cover up Rowan's disappearance just to compromise the whole thing by changing back into yourself before you've even left the train station.
A lefty wouldn't have failed me.
Being a dick to your thing.
Dendrophylax lindenii.
Otherwise known as the ghost orchid.
First discovered on the Isle of Wight in 1854.
Well, actually, Dendrophylax lindenii was discovered in Cuba in 1844. However, a different ghost orchid named Epipogeum aphyllum was discovered amongst some meat pies in 1854. But as it turns out, neither is carnivorous.
Looks like you may have competition for first chair, Bianca.
There's a first chair in botany? What? Are they playing the trumpet flower?
It's able to thrive in even the most hostile environments.
But its mere presence can change the ecosystem, causing the established plants to reject it.
Are we supposed to invest in these mean girls going wild for botany and not think this all seems a bit trivial next to the murder that happened in the last episode?
We're talking about Mom.
I'd say skip, but the dad walks away from his son and ignores this emotional moment completely. So the sin here is obviously not making your kid power wash whatever is currently growing on the siding of your house. Driving off like this with Elvis in the bed of your truck.
I know I'm stubborn, single-minded, and obsessive. But those are all traits of great writers. Yes, and serial killers. What's your point?
Being stubborn, single-minded, and obsessive are the traits of many people, not just writers and serial killers. Panda fluffers fit that description. Just, off the top of my head.
When Rowan showed me this, it confirmed my greatest fear. That I'm going to be responsible for something terrible. Not good terrible like Ivan. Bad terrible.
When your good terrible involves things like torture and executions, we're going to need a bit more info to understand what bad terrible means. It can be anything from a war crime to wearing a hat that doesn't suit you.
The chance that Enid ever becomes romantically interested in you is less than 1%.
So I've still got a shot?
Eugene Ottinger, A Dumb and Dumber Story.
Because I have a very big smoker, and I handle it like a pro. Would you like to see it?
Eugene's probably being literal, but the writers are being perverts. Oh, shut the f*** up with this bullshit. We've watched Wednesday obliterate every obstacle in her path with weaponry, sassery, and hand-to-hand combattery. You know that the moment a stranger grabs her body, she would rip them limb from limb.
These are Rowan's. I knew it was a cover-up.
Expositional flashbacks.
I accidentally walked in on two vampires
Okay, fine, she said fanging. But this is really just a combination of banging and f***ing, and the correct combination of the two is obviously baking.
Color me intrigued.
I thought you were allergic to color.
The most interesting plants grow in the shade.
Hibiscus has entered the chat and heard you were talking I mean, who's going to tell this guy that he doesn't have to pick up leaves with the trash poker? He was doing it earlier, too. Take a break, man, and while you're thinking about how you wound up here, ask yourself if lawn care via trash poker is really what you want to do until retirement. It's not too late to change to spearfishing. Earlier in the episode, Xavier brought to life the spider he was sketching in his notebook, and now I'm just wondering what he makes this picture do when no one's looking. Having a UV light ready to go, pointing it anywhere in this room, and turning it on without even a little hesitation.
How'd you get past the housemaster? Use your siren powers?
Not while wearing this.
The introduction of this necklace couldn't have been more heavy-handed if Bianca looked right at the camera and said, "Hey, look at this thing."
Trust me, Wednesday Addams is not the girl of your dreams. She's the stuff of your nightmares.
Is that not a compliment at this school? It's really hard to tell when they like fun, when they like scary shit, and when the two of them are the same thing. Also, is using her surname necessary? Is there a different Wednesday that might be the girl of his dreams?
Yoko is in the infirmary. What happened? Garlic bread incident at dinner.
This just sounds like a jam band happened.
She's out of the Poe Cup and I don't have a co-pilot.
Correction. You don't have a Yo co-pilot.
There are no rules in the Poe Cup and she is a siren, which makes her master of the water. Then we just need to beat her at her own game.
You don't need to be master of the water to declare yourself the unequivocal winner without setting foot in the canoe. And that's well within the established non-existent rules of this race. Now, in case you haven't caught on, I'm saying that it's impossible to have any kind of race without there being at least a minimal set of rules.
You want to tell me what you two were up to all night? And spoil the surprise?
Wednesday's secrecy is all about keeping the audience in suspense. There's not a single reason you should be surprising your team in the middle of the boat race.
OMG, you look perfect!
She does. It's amazing how good anyone can look in a catsuit that mysteriously fits their exact measurements.
Let the Poe Cup begin!
Even if Principal Weems needs a real gun for this, did it need to be Dirty Harry's .44 Magnum? The attempted murder of the Black Cat's crew is so telegraphed that it not only fails on the first swipe, but on the second as well. Wow. Sure was convenient that the net was installed to launch in the exact same direction as the Mer Saboteur. I guess Wednesday has premonitions about all sorts of things that make the plot sail along. Episode suddenly becomes that scene from Lord of the Things when Bilbo Adams is transported to the Upside Down for some reason.
You are the key.
And you are the vague idea of what the is going on right now.
Yo, what's going on?
It is very obvious that your canoe is sinking. Why is the reaction dialogue so bad in this scene? Also, for some reason, these holes cause them to forget how to paddle, and they all settle on just stirring the water.
I just asked myself, WWWD. What would Wednesday do?
She wouldn't use an initialism that requires her to then waste more time explaining what the initialism meant. If these spikes are high enough above the waterline so that Wednesday's boat doesn't sink when they're deployed, wouldn't the holes they make in the other boat also be above the waterline?
What are you doing down here?
Oh, I'm just conveniently accidentaling my way into clues crucial to the plot.
The last time Ophelia Hall won the Poe Cup, your mother captained the team.
If they're going to dive this deep into legacy nonsense, they might as well have Wednesday reveal that she's a Skywalker too.
Nevermore continues to be an enigma. A place where the questions far outweigh the answers.
Writers admit to using the Lost strategy of stretching out your storyline.
But sometimes, the answer is staring you right in the face.
Or, in this case, a clue that leads to more clues that lead to a library where you won't find answers this episode.
But the minute I inch towards the truth,
Oh, the shut up with this bullery. We've been through this already. She'd rip this person limb from limb. Limb from limb.
Jump in, swim out a few yards, and start drowning.
I don't do tears.
Don't be an asshole.
The chance that Enid ever becomes romantically interested in you is less than 1%.
That's math and it.
You okay?
I see dead people.
Have you seen this before?
You know, for kids.
To tell you the truth, I've never really fit in anywhere. Too odd for the normies, not odd enough for the outcasts.
A high-powered mutant of some kind never even considered for mass production.
Brutus is just as cute as Caesar. Okay, Brutus is just as smart as Caesar. People totally like Brutus just as much as they like Caesar. And when did it become okay for one person to be the boss of everybody, huh? Because that's not what Rome is about. We should totally just stab Caesar!